Well, intros are for losers. We have Gerbil, first time on the channel. Hello. Let's skip the formalities and go right into the greatest I told you so of all time. The floor is
Yeah, sure.
yours. Go for it.
All right, fine. Leia, I told you. Is that what you were looking for?
That was exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's amazing actually how many like content creators, and I'm not trying to diss the community because that's
no,
the
diss the
only reason
community. That's what the PP podcast is for.
Oh, is it? I actually haven't listened to the podcast, so I think I need to subscribe,
It's
huh?
okay. We do one
Especially
episode
since
every
I'm on
like
it now.
7 months. This is like
All
episode
right.
12, and we've been doing it for years.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, I'll still find you later. I'll subscribe. I mean, I got to now that I'm on it, I guess. But yeah, no, Leia, man, it's like so many people are like, "Oh yeah, we saw that coming. We saw that coming." Everyone knew it was coming. I was like, "No, you didn't." I remember when I posted my first video for it over a year ago. One of the top content creators, no names, was like,
No, we need names.
Yeah,
We call people
no,
out.
no, not naming names right now. Not yet. Maybe I'll get more comfortable. But
And your
but
tell-all
no,
book.
they were like, it ain't happening. He's nuts. There's no way it's happening. But to be honest, to be fair, like I did say it would be Leia and Tarkin. Because I really thought Tarkin was kind of the antithesis of Leia, especially all the way through New Hope, right? I mean, and if you read the comics and even in Rebels, there's some Leia Tarkin duels happening and stuff. But and I still think we're gonna get another Empire GL very soon. Maybe not the next one, but we got Hut Cartel instead, and no one, I don't think really saw that one coming. They just made a whole new faction. So.
I mean, it was a
Yeah.
great faction. So if Empire is theoretically coming in the next couple, and you have unimaginable deductive farming, I don't know what the term is, instincts, can I interest you in a Thrawn? I've predicted Thrawn since
Yeah.
literally before JML and C were announced. I was like, obviously Thrawn is going to be the next galactic legend. I don't know why I said that, but that was always my intuition. It was going to be Beskar Armor Thrawn and someone else. I can't even remember at this point. Give me the argument. Imagine that you've convinced yourself it's going to happen. Give me the argument for it.
All right, so I don't think it's going to be Mando. I'm trying to think of the guy's name, the actor who plays the Mandalorian.
Pedro
Like,
Pascal.
yeah. So he's been kind of on a roller coaster, whether he wants to continue the role or not. He's had some problems with some of the production teams, and that's why the studios have been kind of pulling him out. He's had a lot less screen time, like in the last season, right? His screen time took a dive.
Yeah.
And Bo-Katan's is on the up, right? So I think if we're going to get if that trend continues, I think that the Mandalorian future could be less of him and more about the redevelopment, rebuilding of the Mandalore. But the studios have already said that's not their intention. They want to go back to more of the bounty hunter-esque kind of short stories. So time will tell, but I don't think we'll get a Mandalorian GL in the near future. I think it'd be great because it's a super popular franchise, a lot of money to be made. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's more likely that it would be a heir of the Empire Thrawn, like you're saying, because there's still a lot of Empire characters not needed for anyone. And while we have Lord Vader as a GL, an Empire tag, he's when you ask a random dude, hey, name someone from Star Wars in the Empire, or what do you think of? They don't go, oh, I think of Lord Vader slaying, Jedi children, right? You think of stormtroopers and ATSTs and all that good jazz and TIE fighters. And so I think it's very likely that we get like a trooper-ish GL down the road. Alternatively, and I think Thrawn would be great for that. And then I think that if they wanted to do like a counterpart to it, I think it would be more likely we'd get an Ahsoka, especially with the upcoming TV show and the hype around it, and just the duality of Ahsoka and Thrawn. And then, of course, you could bring in updated Phoenix teams and make them required for both of them, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of what I was looking at more recently than, I guess, when I originally made the prediction that he would eventually come is you have so many opportunities to rehash characters that make them, I know they gave us Viagra Rex or whatever the fuck people are calling him, but like the Phoenix is not fantastic. It does some good stuff, and there's some very niche use cases where it's quite effective. But like I think rehashing a lot of those characters in an updated, cooler version would be nice. You can get some sort of, I mean, what do we even call them at this point? Legendary Ezra, the Cal Kestis, Jedi Knight Luke, era of characters. And then they could
short hair Sabine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she I mean, okay, this is a little bit of a tangent. I've like watched the trailers kind of, but like I watched them without audio and like on 2x speed, like in airports. Are they trying to make her Are they trying to make her a Jedi, or are they just like, oh, Ahsoka gave her a lightsaber? What are they doing with her? Why does she have a lightsaber?
So there is a lot of speculation that she's force sensitive and that Ahsoka is going to be training her in the next in the show. I don't know if that's going to happen. But it would be kind of interesting to see a Mandalore with, force abilities.
Yeah, that would, I mean, hell of a comeback for the Jedi Mandalorians, that would be. But, yeah. I mean, they tried to do the same thing with Finn, and then that kind of backfired. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of randomly, like, oh, you just happen to be force sensitive, because it kind of takes away, I don't know, maybe I'm on my soapbox too much, but, like, Star Wars is like, oh, there's a couple of really cool force-using characters, but like so many of the cool characters in Star Wars are just like people who have to like circumnavigate the fact that they can't like pull Star Destroyers out of the sky. They have to like think and run like a normal person and shoot guns and stuff like that. And I just hate giving every character can't die, i.e. Cad Bane and Rey, I guess, or that stupid snake that she healed. And everything is apparently a force sensitive thing. I don't know if that's too much. That's too soapboxy for you, but that's it's not been my favorite trend in recent years. I don't think that holds up the integrity of the universe very well.
And I think that's actually why Mandalorian has been as popular as it is, because it's not about, other than the little baby Grogu, it's not about the Force, right? I mean, we had a cameo from Luke at the end of that one season, and everybody's jaw dropped, and we loved it. But most of the Mandalore, I mean, he's getting his butt kicked actually quite often, and I think that it provides more of a believable human element to it that people have really enjoyed.
Yeah, I think that's why I liked, oh my God, what, Cassian or Andor, whatever the hell the show is called.
Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One and the TV show. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. It was like a universe that
Andor.
I enjoy. Andor, yeah, a universe that I love, and like relatable, realistic characters that like there's something, maybe it's just because I'm a little bit older than when I originally watched the Star Wars movies, but like you can have good cinema, or I guess it's not cinema because it's a TV show, but you can have good storytelling and good screenplay in the Star Wars universe without having the plot hole of worst case scenario, I can cut through any wall and throw people across the room, and if I fall, if Palpatine throws me out a window, I can come back because I'm immune to fall damage. And they can just hold that. And if I'm Cad Bane, I could just press a button and my heart will keep beating. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that I've really enjoyed maybe as I've gotten older. But going back to the game, I would love a revamp of all, kind of like Leia, I imagine you predicted years ago or a year ago, would do a revamp of a lot of Empire characters that like have only one use case. Like there's Imperial troopers and it's like, oh, are you faster? Yes. Okay. You kill them and you get max banners and it's great. Iden Versio used to be great on defense, and now it's like, oh, did they happen to put Mon Mothma on defense for whatever reason? Oh, you just go full auto, and that's kind of all you use them for, and there's nothing interesting about the faction right now, unfortunately, and I'm really hoping Thrawn can kind of change that. Maybe kind of how Jabba created a new faction, took a bunch of random characters and made them good, or in the way that, I don't know, Qui-Gon Jinn could take leftover Galactic Republic Jedi and make them useful. Like something in that respect where like you can take stuff that maybe wasn't as interesting or as useful and turn it into something that has flexibility and has obviously some sort of presence in the meta. How do you think the team's going to kind of play out?
Yeah, so like I'm just scrolling through the list of Empire here on SWGOH.GG. And there's always going to be those people who are going to be like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, man. Director Krennic's amazing or something, right? But it's
You've been talking to Van Seal.
but yeah, so I'm scrolling through the list and like you just said, right? The Imperial Trooper Squad, if you get out ahead of a lot of people, it's got a place where it's solid. But there's so many anti-turn meter teams now and just inherently faster squads that, you daze them, you mass stun them or whatever, they fall apart real fast, right? So they could use a boost at some point. And you're right, I think Iden in like the the sub Kyber ranges is actually still quite effective.
Hmm.
But once you get a counter, or once you learn how to counter her, she just like she falls apart. Um, so yeah, the Iden faction, like all those troopers, Imperial Probe Droid. I don't know if anybody actually uses Imperial Super Commando.
I can't
Like,
imagine outside of just for the ship.
right, right. A TIE fighter pilot, he was meta once upon a time, but no, just no anymore, right? Like in my alt account, it's 2.8 million. I'm working towards Executor. I'm almost there. So I've got my TIE fighter. He's one of like 15 relic characters. And every time I use him, no matter what, I'm just disappointed. I'm like, wow, that really sucked. Um, so something to elevate these, and then how many more Imperial characters are in the franchise that are not in the game that we'd like to see? Like, I'm just thinking Leia may bring us a Scout Trooper Marquis, and that, even though that would be a requirement for this GL, they do double down sometimes. Like Moff Tarkin is required for a couple, right? So I
Do
could
you
see
still
that.
believe Scout Troopers coming? Because I mean, we already have the 3 marquees that they usually have, right? There's not really room for one more.
Well, we got Rex and we got Nisa.
And then
I don't think
Captain Cal
Drogon.
Drogo.
Yeah, Drogo. I don't think he's going to be a requirement because, like, okay, so if he was a requirement, why name drop him when you list your first 5, right? Because they said here's 5, we got 10 more coming. Oh, and by the way, we've also got this special guy. I think he's going to be a conquest character down the road.
You think he's going to be like a lifter in the future?
Maybe, and now I'm going to get biased. I'm going to let my inherent bias out here for a second, because it is an indoor. The graphic we have in the game is definitely Leia in her indoor fatigues and the camouflage. So, what was her like call to fame in the camo scene? It was the ability to meet an alien race for the first time and negotiate an alliance, and not just an alliance, but employ them to put their entire village on the line to fight a battle that they didn't need to engage in, right? So I suspect that GLA is going to have quite a few Ewok synergies, especially since 2 of the first 5 requirements are Ewok. I think there will be 1 or 2 more. Maybe 1 in each of the next grouping of 5. I expect Chirpa or Tebow to be there. And then I could see her ideal, maybe not ideal, but a viable lineup for her being the new dude, Drogon, and then 3 Ewoks. But that is a bias I have, so maybe not.